Welcome, one and all. Eric Johnson with you. It's time now for a very special guest, a track star turned javelin stud, a three-time Olympian, a coach, a Panther by heart, and just an all-around great lady. That's just down to brass tacks, ladies and gentlemen. Maggie Malone-Hardin,
Oh,
welcome.
thanks, Eric. I specifically love that last part. Just overall great lady. I
It's
like
just,
that.
just a wonderful heart, a wonderful soul. I
Yeah.
mean, you just smiles all
Oh
over. I
man.
mean, it's so good to see you and
Thanks.
getting to talk to you, and of course, being the hometown.
Mm.
Is it right? I mean, hometown hero. I mean, for a lot of
No,
these, yeah,
I
you know,
cannot
it's
claim that title. There are so many amazing people who do way better things than I do, but I am so proud of just Geneva and being from Fillmore County. But I don't think I can take hometown hero.
well, it's if you have so many incredible accolades and everybody that follows you throughout. I mean, the from the the trials and going through
Mm,
with the three Olympics and looking at your bio and everybody's going Geneva, Nebraska.
yep.
It's like you
Well, you
really
know
make
what's even funny? What's funnier is so I was at work this week and one of the girls was like, "Oh, she asked me to play on this kickball league with her, which is neither here nor there. We don't have to talk about that." But and I said, "Oh, well, I might be going to Geneva this weekend, so I probably can't." And so she did not know that I was talking, she didn't know that there was a Geneva, Nebraska. So she was telling everybody at work that I was going to Geneva, Switzerland this week. And I was like, I love that you think I'm such a world traveler in that way, but no, I would not take the weekend to go to Switzerland and come back.
I mean, hey, if you got an itch to get out of the house, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm even,
I
the old
know.
saying goes out of the house, out of trouble. But
Yes, yeah. But I'm
do
glad that
you?
we could put Geneva in the minds of people now and
That's right.
just make them kind of look a little bit closer at where Geneva, Nebraska is.
Exactly, and,
Yeah.
um, I mean, lately here, just recently, have you been doing a lot of traveling? I know you're back in the neck of the woods here,
Yeah.
besides training, have you been doing a lot of, other extracurriculars, or what's going on?
Yeah. Not too much traveling from javelin. I was doing a lot of traveling for work with Arbor Day Foundation. So,
Mhm.
I mean, the fall I was in Chicago, California a few times, Texas a couple times. So I was all over the place there. But hoping that now, once my training has started, like not going to do too much of travel. I was in Colorado for a little bit to do an injection on my shoulder, but other than that, we're rocking and rolling and training. So I'm hoping not to go too far.
Nice, nice. So, what's the latest? Whereabouts are
Mhm.
you? What are you aiming towards? I guess for the next Olympics, was it
Yeah.
Tokyo? Correct.
So this year we have world championships in Tokyo. So that's the end of
Yeah.
September. So I am training for that. I'll have hopefully, season goes well and all that. I'll have some competitions in Norway for our Diamond League and Rabat and a couple in Switzerland, I think too. So that'll be this season. And then yeah, LA is 2028, so we got a bit of time before that. But yeah, focus this year is World Championships in Tokyo.
Wow. So, um, you and the hubby, do you get to bring mom and dad along with for to go overseas again, or are they willing to
They
travel?
probably, I can't really picture Danny in Tokyo, Japan. Paris was a bit of a stretch, but he did great. He did great as his first European travel. I don't think that they'll probably come to Tokyo because it's a long trip. It's like 16 hours plus, I think, of a flight. So I don't foresee them there, but Sam for sure. My husband definitely, he coaches me. So yep, he'll be right there.
Of course, yeah. But you also got to realize too, a lot of us here locally, which you can relate. If you can get Coach a picture of Coach in
Oh, Lord have mercy.
another element,
Yep.
my
Yep.
God,
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was. I told everybody that we should have done a docu series of Danny in Europe because the amount of questions that this man had and watching him try to navigate through another country was so amusing. And but you know what? He did great. Like he really
yeah.
did. And
What was
and
his
on the
favorite
way
thing over
there,
there?
say it again.
What was his favorite thing over there that he enjoyed?
Um, I think that he loved just like I mean, just the energy of the Olympics, like it was so incredible to like, I mean, everywhere you went was just like country pride. Like, you get to see all these people that you've seen on TV and being in the stadiums. And it was their first time to see me compete internationally too, which was crazy because I've done it so many times at this point. But just to see them in a different element, like I love that they got to see that and be a part of that. But he got really sick on the way there. I think he got COVID because COVID was going crazy,
Oh no.
especially in Paris. So he got sick on the way there, but then after like the first day or two, he was all good after that.
Good, good.
Hmm.
Well, tell us a little bit about, we can go back in, the growing up phase from
Yeah.
College Station to Geneva, Nebraska. But,
Yep.
you know, the routes that you traveled in life with your mom and your dad,
Yeah.
um, tell us a little bit about the stories. I mean, probably got a lot of stories you can pull up going, just growing up, with the coaches.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that because as I'm getting prepared to talk with everybody on in February in Geneva, and just like thinking through how grateful I am to have grown up in a small town and in Geneva specifically. And I have so many different stories of traveling and talking to different friends from different countries, and they all have great experiences too. But when I explain to them where I'm from and how everybody knows everybody and there's one stoplight and you
Still
can
there,
get
still there. Yeah.
it's still there and it takes 5 minutes to get anywhere. They just are like, where are you from? Like, can we come visit this? And I'm just so proud of it. Like, I truly think that there's so many amazing memories that I have growing up. And I love that both my parents were coaches and so firmly a part of the community. And, even, little stuff that was coming to mind as I was preparing for the speech of just like, walking the neighborhood and selling cookie dough for whatever thing for the school, or,
Oh yeah.
going to the gym for like open gym and asking my friends to come shoot basketball, or just as a kid, my dad was teaching driver's ed and my mom was at track practice. And so we'd have to get to the track at like 7 in the morning, and we would just hang out in the gym. We'd go to, so it was really special. We'd go to Casey's, we'd all get like a breakfast pizza or donut. And then we'd all go to the school and we'd sit on the high jump mat. And then, we're waking up a little bit because, we're young, we're kids. And then we would play all day in the school. We would make forts from those blue squishy mats, and we would swing from the rope from the top of the bleachers, which I just am like laugh now because I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, we'd play hide and seek. Like, there's just so many memories of being at that school, and it's just a part of who I am. And what I love about growing up in Geneva too are the connections and friendships that we have, and just like how my parents had these relationships with so many people, and they feel like family to me. So, from the Karchers to the Coons, and like we would go to like the Taylors for film after the football games, and the just our neighborhood with the Rimmicks next door, and the Scotts around the block. And I just am so grateful for those people in my life because it is a unique. I didn't realize this, but even talking with my husband, like we had such a unique opportunity where we lived to live and really be in community and friendship with people, and that's not how it is everywhere else.
Yeah.
And so I just think like I just truly thank God for that. And I hope that one day, we can give my kids that, whatever that looks like. Because those relationships, I mean, I still, my high school girlfriends, like we still get together, we still, communicate, and watching all my friends have kids right now. Like, it's just one of the most amazing gifts that I have in my life. And I love throwing javelin. I love getting to travel all around the world, but my heart really is in Geneva and growing up there with the people that I got to spend time with.
As you just and it's so good to feel that because you were down in Aggie land for a while there,
Yep.
getting your education and really
Yep.
blossoming as a student
Yep.
athlete, and but it's so rewarding to know that, hey, you're kind of back in the neck of the woods.
I know.
You get to come out, whenever you get a chance to,
Yep.
and it's
Yeah.
it's kind of fulfilling for a lot of friends and family
Yeah.
here in these neck of the woods.
Yeah, and it's funny how God works, because when my family left Geneva, and full transparency, like, it wasn't our intention at the time. Like, it was a really actually hard moment for us
Yeah.
to leave, and it was hard when all of that was happening. But to see how God has really used that and used it for something good, like, I would never, and I truly believe this, like, I would never have the life that I have now and be an Olympian if my family didn't move to Texas and then I
Mhm.
followed them. That would never have happened. And the way that God just has truly, reconciled that hurt, because I mean, honestly, Eric, like, and it's been tough because I've always struggled with maybe talking about this publicly, because as much as I love Geneva, and as amazing as it was to grow up, like, there was that part when my family left, and it being so difficult. It's been tough to talk about, because I don't
Yeah.
want to hurt people in the process, but also I want to recognize what my family went through, and we never thought we would come back.
Yeah.
Um, it very much did feel like we were getting run out of town, is what it felt like, to be fully honest.
Yeah.
And that was something that I think all of us held on to, of a deep wound. Um, but then I mean, God says it, like, in the Bible, he's like, he works all things out for your good. And to take the pain that we had in that moment, like, my sister left her senior year. That was incredibly difficult. It changed her for the rest of her life. Cal leaving middle of high school, like, that changed him. And to go from a town of, your class is 30 some people, to now go to a school where your class is over 500 people, that was really hard. And I think to see how God used those situations so that my sister and I could compete together at Texas A&M. I got to watch my brother play football. I got to watch my dad coach my brother in football. Like, that was
That's an
amazing to
awesome
see both of them
experience.
have success. Yeah, and then to have the Olympics is great, right? The Olympics is amazing. I'm so grateful that and I'm still crazy that I even get to call myself an Olympian. But one of the things I'm most joyful and just like happy about is that I feel like the Olympics created a bridge back to Geneva. And
Yeah.
I don't think without that happening, without me getting to compete in the Olympics, I don't know if that ever would have happened. Truly, I'm not sure if that would have happened. And so it felt like we were accepted again. It felt like we got to be a part of a community that we lived in for 20 some years, and that we got to reconnect in those relationships again. And that hurt, that wound, that you know, all of that felt like it finally had some healing in it and some purpose. And so that is what I am the most grateful for to God, is that he knew what he was doing the whole time.
Well, yeah, and I totally agree. And from one fellow local, to another here too. Yeah, that was a difficult, time in life. And I know, because regardless, good or bad, it always leads to a very positive outcome.
Yep.
And
Yep.
there's a lot of people that did not feel that way at that time. So please,
Yeah.
you always remember that,
Well, thank
so
you.
yeah. And I mean, it's seeing Coach, seeing Danny. You just don't tell him I said that. Seeing Danny and Nancy,
Yeah.
in the pictures that you have on your socials, happy
Yeah.
and watching their kids grow and develop. And
Yep.
uh, it is fulfilling, because I remember stories back when I was little, when Nancy was my PE teacher. And, she would talk about the family and all that. She'd be so
Yeah.
kind and gentle. And Danny would be like, all right, get up the rope.
Yeah.
One of those deals, it was one of those. It
Yep.
was fun, because that interaction, and of course, we get to play
Yep.
softball in the gym, so it worked
Yep.
out great. But it's getting to know your folks on that scale,
Yeah.
and seeing how they developed you and your
Mm.
siblings into wonderful examples
Oh, thank
of
you.
positive encouragement. But
Yeah.
um,
I've learned so much from them, and I understand that I'm fully aware that many people did not feel like that way towards my parents. But it's always the ones that did that stand out, you know?
yeah, yeah,
And many people have apologized afterwards too, which I'm grateful for, and never thought that that would happen.
yeah,
And so I just feel grateful because I've learned so much, and even how my family and my parents moved through that time. Because now as an adult, like it, watching them move through hurt of their own, and to feel uprooted from a community that they really invested in for a long time and loved. I, but just like to be able to then move to College Station, and Eric, all of us got to be in the exact same town for 6 years. Like like that could never have happened.
no,
Like the fact that we all got to be in the same town. My mom would help with the national championships at track and field. Like she would be working indoors. She'd have her junior high kid. Like she started a program with Texas A&M. Like she said, hey, do you guys need volunteers? She worked at an inner city school that like these kids don't get to see the university. They don't get to be a part of these rooms. And she provided an opportunity for them to say, yeah, bring these junior high kids, and they can carry the national champions, spikes and clothes and in those baskets. And they're getting to see these athletes up close and personal. And like, that's the type of person my mom is that everywhere she went, she always created good for the people that she engaged with. And she was always looking out for people, and wanted to provide experiences for people to say, hey guys, there's a bigger world out here than
mhm.
just these, just the school, or just maybe the poverty that you live in. And I think that she got to do that in Geneva, and she's done that in College Station, and she's doing that in Palestine. And then seeing the relationships my dad has made with all of these, ex-football players, and even the current ones, these, the junior high kids that he helps with now. Like I didn't understand the magnitude of, the impact that they've had on people, but it truly inspires me to treat people like that also, and to always remember that relationships come first,
Yeah.
not the wins and losses, not the performances, but the relationships are the foundation. And like I remember, Eric, so many times, I can reflect back where my dad maybe had to have hard conversations with a football athlete that maybe, got in trouble over the weekend, or, had something happened. And like I have witnessed him go on walks or sit down with those guys and mentor them and be a strong, just like male figure in their life. And I've gotten to witness him do that even now, like with these junior high kids that don't, transparently don't have fathers in their lives. And he has been such a, just a person that they can come to. And I hope that I can also lead with that, because it really inspires me too.
Well, yeah, and your dad, I mean, they given the kids that 60 minutes that they don't have
Yep.
of meaning, every day, and
Yeah,
that's the
of
biggest thing.
course.
Yeah.
And to feel a part of the team, and to, not degrade you, but to like, but also that doesn't mean he's not going to push you. Like my dad's a tough guy. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like he's a tough guy. There's a reason why we got
No,
tough
he's
skin.
not.
Yeah. Like there's a reason why we have tough skin and the way that we are. And it's because he has high expectations, and he has always had that. And he pushes us to be the best versions of ourselves, for better or for worse. Sometimes it's not easy. And, but I agree. Like he wants you to feel part of the team. He's going to include you. He wants you to have those 60 minutes to feel proud of yourself for whatever that is. And sometimes that results in running a tire, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I
But
didn't say that right. I think he says tie. You got to run a
yeah, yeah.
tie. Yeah.
Oh, you and I are gonna get in so much trouble. But do you
He's
like
gotten
you
he's gotten softer with his old age.
you can
He
say that
has.
because you're far enough away.
Exactly.
But do you feel like you're talking about how your dad's being a positive influence in the
Yeah.
youth there for junior high kids. do you feel like you're taking it upon yourself with that honor of being an
Mm,
Olympian and a good positive role model
yeah.
for all the women around?
Yeah, I really try to be. And the first thing that I always tell people is like, I hope that the last thing that people say about me is that I was a good javelin thrower. I hope that's the last thing that they think about me, because I want them to know that like I love Jesus, that I cared about them, that I was a friend to them, and I happen to throw the javelin well. Like
Mhm.
I really do want to lead in that way, because javelin is just such a small part of who I am. And so I really do try to take the time to answer, on my Instagram. A lot of people ask me questions or reach out, and I do try to answer any questions that they have or encourage people, because this sport is hard. Like, it's a really tough thing to do, and it's very vulnerable to put yourself out there and, maybe even publicly fail. And so I try to always encourage and just share with people that I love them, and that there's a God that really has given every single person a gift and a talent, and we're just here to utilize that to glorify him. And so that's always been mine, whether I'm speaking at schools or I'm speaking at with elementary kids or making visits or whatever it is. Like, I just want them to see the human side of it. And thankfully, the Olympics just gives me that platform to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just watching you've been developing and growing. I know you talked about that too, and um, you know, having that element of opening up to. I feel
Mhm.
like you use your social media as a good processing tool to open up to the fans and whatnot. We've seen a vulnerable side of you after a tough one,
Yeah.
and uh, how's that been since you kind of been able to kind of wrap your head around that? Have you been
Yeah.
able to kind of mentally bounce back from that when you open up about that loss?
Yeah. It's so funny. I had coffee with a friend this morning, and we were talking about just javelin, um and I said something about the video too, and I was like, I've never even watched that video that I put out afterwards. I kind of just blacked out, put it up, and never looked at it again. But I'm
Mhm.
glad that I did share it, because I do think it's important to see that side. And yeah, it was one of the hardest moments of my life, because you think it's going to go one way and it doesn't.
Mhm.
And I felt like I'd prepared the best that I ever had. Like, it was such an unexpected blow, and you put so much into something. And I think everybody can relate to that, whether you're like building a business, or you're trying out for a team, or you are getting ready for a state championship, or whatever it is in your life. Like, when you feel like you've put so much into that and it doesn't turn out the way you thought it would, that can be really shaking. And so yeah, I have processed it, and thankfully I have such amazing people around me
Yeah.
that lift me up and speak truth, because the devil's going to come in at those moments, and he's going to try to rip you down and tell you lies about yourself. Um and what he tries to tell me, vulnerably here, is that I'm not good enough, that I am that I'm a fake, that I am not worthy. There's so many lies that I have dealt with. And to have people speak truth, and really community around me to speak truth into that. And the devil really tries to use embarrassment for me. Like, I felt so embarrassed to quote unquote fail in that moment. And I fully, disregarded all the work that I put into it, the process to become a three-time Olympian, which is so worthy in itself. And but I also have that Danny Malone hardness in me, where it's like, well, I expect the best and I want to be the best. And so it's tough to balance those things. But at the end of the day, I just know, like, it's a part of the game,
Yeah.
and it's a part of putting yourself out there, and it's so worthy and this is what I tell people now too, and it took me a long time to get to this. It is The worthiness comes in trying, just trying something, to put yourself out there, to go out for that team, to put yourself in that event that you've never done, or to go speak publicly, or whatever it is. It's like there's so much strength in just trying, and that should be celebrated, the process of pursuing something is worthy to be celebrated. And we often only celebrate the medals that people bring home. And I find myself in that too. And I do say this where I'm like, I know I said this part in there because it's true still. I didn't even want the medal for me. I wanted it for all the people in Geneva and Exeter and Milligan and College Station and Alabama and Phoenix and all the places that I have people who have been praying for me, who have supported me, who have been on this journey with me. I'm like, I want it for them and for us, not even for myself, but to it was almost like a way to say like thank you, like I couldn't have done this without you, and I still believe that I wouldn't be on this journey without those people in my life. I really wouldn't.
Well, and I think too is the fact that they were there with you through thick and thin. And my
Yeah.
question, you medals don't matter or whatnot. Do you feel like it was benefit to get all these medals, or was it a positive to get all these accolades, or was it
Mm,
a humbling experience to feel what you felt at the last
yeah.
Olympics? I mean, what was more beneficial, I guess, in your
Yeah.
growth?
I mean, definitely the losses are always the they always have helped me, and I've had more losses than wins in my life. Truly, like this sport, I've had way more failures than I've had successes. And every single failure has led to some growth, some learning, whether it's personal or in the sport. Oftentimes it's both. And so even from that competition, like my husband and I looked back, we looked at film, and it was like, oh, wow, I see what I was doing. And I mean, not to get too technical, but basically what happened was I was the early morning session. So I had to get up at like 5 a.m. And we had to be at the track at like 7 a.m. because we were competing at around like 8 or 9. And so I was trying to historically when I've had morning competitions, I'm like kind of sluggish, like dragging. And so I was trying to bring my energy up, and I was trying to force it on the javelin runway and really get my legs moving. And when I looked back, what I was actually doing was creating a lot of like stress and tension in my throw and in my approach. And so when I did that, it messed up all this timing, and I wasn't able to throw the javelin very well because I was trying to um what's the word? Like overcompensate for what I thought I was going to feel.
Hmm.
And so all this to say in a roundabout way, I learned from that experience. And then I went to my next two competitions and threw lights out. I finished third at the Diamond League and beat the girls that, that had previously thrown better than I did at the Olympics. And I did fantastic. I had a great series, and but the only reason I was able to do that is because of what I learned from that moment. And so now I've even taken that moment into this season. And I already feel like I'm better than what I was at the end of the season because I was able to build on that. And so every single loss I've had has definitely impacted me. And what I've learned in this sport is that you can't take the lows. You can't let them break you. You can't go too low. Like you can feel it. You're going to feel it, but you can't let it break you. And there was a time in my life after 2016 where I did let it break me that I didn't want to compete anymore. But now I've done this long enough where I'm like, everybody feels it. Nobody is on top of the world all the time. You're going to take your losses, and it's how you can respond and learn from those losses that actually make you better. And sometimes making you better results in a medal around your neck, and sometimes it doesn't, but it grows you in a different way. And I'm at a point now where I'm accepting of both. I hope that it results in a great throw, but ultimately I know that it's going to impact me and make me a better, wife to my husband, and, a mom someday, and a coach, and all of those experiences are helping me in those areas.
I was gonna say, speaking of coach, hubby's doing a
Yeah.
great job. Yes,
He is
give
doing
him
so
love.
great. Oh my gosh, he's amazing. I could not do this without him. Like he truly, I mean, he was the person that got me going again. I was going to quit the sport in 2017, and he told me to keep going, and he's been incredible. Yeah,
Ah, good man. You got to keep him.
he
Damn it.
is. I know. I know. He's the best. He's outside
So
right now. He's outside right now building this chicken thing for our chickens out back. I don't even know. So,
Dedicated to the cause on a cold day. My
he
God.
is. He is. He knows no pain.
So I got to ask you, as we wind down our last few minutes, and of course I
Yeah.
appreciate all the time in the world with you, and
Yeah.
we got many of us want to know who's better at coaching. Is it Coach Hubby or Coach Dad?
I'm going to go Coach Mama.
Oh, and
Yeah.
why?
I think my mom, I mean, how many state championships has she had? And state champions, if we just want to go off of numbers, we could go off
Okay.
that. My mom is like, she is one of the most incredible coaches I've ever had the chance to be around, truly. And like, obviously there's a bias because I'm her daughter, but the way that I mean, I've always watched her do this. Like, since I was a kid, like I've watched her build relationships with people. She instills a belief in women and men too, that they can do anything. And she's incredible. Like, it truly inspires me. And that is what I found in my college coach too. I think that's why he and I got along so well, is because he instilled a belief in me that I could do anything, even when I didn't believe it. Like, he speaks it into existence until you believe it. And he's going to make you work hard. And just like my mom, I mean, my mom put me through some hellish workouts. Anybody who's done track and was in her group, they know you're going to get your butt
PE
whooped.
track with Nancy. You got to give a round of applause.
Oh my gosh. She's going to make you work. But the success that you often have at the end of it, it all makes sense in the end. And the trust that you have in her and what she asks you to do is so important to coaching. I think a lot of times coaches miss the relationship part. Catherine Remick and I talk about this a lot. Track is a sport of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a relationship so that you can ask those athletes to do hard things and get them to believe in themselves and get them to believe in you as a coach. And when you have that in just like you have that established, you have that synergy happening, that's when that magic happens. That's when you get to see some outstanding performances. And I think coaches often just want the performance, and they think like, oh, I'm going to yell at them all the time, or I'm going to push them so hard. And it's like, no. Relationship has to be there first, because once that's there, those athletes are going to work their butts off for you.
Amen. All right. Well, we'll keep going lightning round here.
Yeah.
Big Ten or SEC?
SEC. That's a pretty easy one for me. I am team SEC all day. Yeah. Except volleyball. I'll go Big Ten.
Yes, of course. Good answer. All right.
Yeah.
Want to know, when Maggie gets to have a quiet day, what's her cheat meal?
Oh, pizza and ice cream.
Ooh, yep. What kind of pizza?
Anything with all the meat on it, all the protein. Yep.
Good. And of course, if you had the one perfect spot where you and the hubby can actually go and enjoy yourself anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
I'm going to give you two answers just because there's our two favorite places. One is, which we recently went to, but it's one of our favorite places now, is Stowe, Vermont. We went there over the fall, and it has become our like safe haven place. So that is definitely one that we love. We'll probably go every year now just to decompress. And then the other one is Tampere, Finland, which is where his family is from. And there's a lake home out there that they have, and it has like no electricity. There's like no indoor plumbing, and it's one of the most magical places ever. We love it. We got to spend time out there over the summer, and it's just he got to go there every summer, and it's just the most beautiful place ever.
Can you imagine? No socials, no TV, no nothing.
Exactly. Nothing.
Oh my.
Yep. We just go out there and we play darts, and we go on the lake, and we fish, and we just spend time with each other. We play games. It's the best.
I know everybody's worrying about TikTok, for crying out loud, leaving.
Oh
but
my
man,
gosh, I know.
Nothing there. Oh, that'd be glorious.
It's beautiful. Yep.
Wow. Well, Maggie, I know your time's precious. I know we get to see each other soon. Can we touch base again? Another follow-up here down the road, maybe?
I think so too. That'd be great.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the time. Maggie
Yeah.
Malone-Hardin joining us here. And of course, you're coming to Geneva on February
Yep.
26th. Can't wait to
Yep.
see you. Tell us a little bit about what people are going to expect
Yeah.
from your visit down here to Fillmore County.
Yeah. Super excited to talk to everybody. I have something that I've developed for schools, but for like corporates and just businesses in general. It's called my Olympic Mindset 5 to Thrive. And so it's the 5 kind of characteristics that I feel like have helped in my journey to make me quote unquote Olympic. And I hope that it's, inspiring to other people, that helps them. They can take something away from it to help them kind of in their journeys too.
Can't wait to hear about it. Of course, everybody want to tune in February 26th at the Fillmore County Fairgrounds. The one and only Olympian and all around sweet lady of Fillmore County. It's
Love
Maggie
it.
Malone-Hardin. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time, my friend.
See ya.
Yep.